moving forward. Oh, position, set, courtesy. Student creed number one. I intend to develop myself in a positive manner and to avoid anything that would reduce my growth and physical health. Number two. I intend to develop self-discipline in order to bring the best of myself and others. Number three. I intend to use what I learned in class to start feeling better about myself and my fellow man and never do music or offensive. Courtesy. All right, so as we get started today, we're going to go into figure eight, working on the figure eight down, right? With the figure eight, we're going to start off just in form, and the first phase of the figure eight is just understanding the figure eight, so it's a diagonal figure eight. So as I'm doing this, think about the X pattern. So I'm just coming down on the X. So you're just going to take your right hand, and you're thinking cut down, cut down. And we're going to tend to do this one at the middle height. Keep in mind that when you're doing any of these strikes, you have really three different levels that you could go. I could go to the head, I can go to the waist, or I can come down low like I'm hitting the knees, right? So typically, we're just going to go right through the center, right? And with any of the figure eight family, you should be able to go this direction, and then you should be able to reverse it and go this direction, right? So here I'm coming upwards on the strikes, right? And so now it's like just upward forehand, upward backhand, upward forehand, upward backhand. And then reverse it again. So now you're striking with the downward strikes. And then reverse it again. So now you're coming with the upward strike. And of course, like everything else, not only should we be able to go forwards and backwards, but you should be able to do it with the left hand. So now, just simple, this is what they call the diagonal figure eight. And it's a big wide figure eight. So I'm hitting diagonally across the bottom. Remember to get the wrist involved. The stick should lead the strike. The wrist should lead the strike, and then the stick snaps through on the center. Snaps on the center. Snaps on the center. So if I slow it down, strike, strike, backhand, forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand, forehand, and then just circling right around to the next one. And now switching, go the other way. So I'm coming upwards, backhand, upwards, forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand, forehand. And then switch directions again, so now I'm coming down. And then switch again and come upwards. All right, so now let's go back to the right hand, and again, that was the diagonal one. Now the next one is horizontal. With the horizontal, it's more like I'm doing the 3 strike and the 4 strike, right? And as I do this, it's got a slight downward angle to it, but not diagonal this way. So it's more horizontal, but I'm making it a figure eight just by the time I flip it over and I come back through, by the pen on the end, you would see that there's like a little bit of a diagonal or a little figure eight motion to it. But it's much flatter, right? Now, typically with this one, when I work with Steve Kevin or when I go to the Dan and Natano seminars, we tend to do this one high, flat, right? Middle, flat, and then low, right? So then back here, horizontal, and then back up to the headboard. Right? And as you get to some of the other figure eights, then you'll see why. Because with the horizontal, there's times you go high with the horizontal, and there's times that you'll go low with the horizontal, right? So now, again, you should be able to switch directions, right? So now, as I'm doing it, in the downward motion, I go forehand, or I'm sorry, this is forehand, backhand's coming down, forehand's coming down, right? Or it might be that it's slightly coming up, or that it's slightly going down, right? So right now, try and think like it's slightly going down as you're coming across the center. Slightly coming down as you go to the head. Slightly coming down as you come down to the legs. Slightly down towards the middle. And now switch it again and have it come slightly up as you come across the middle. Slightly up as you come across the head. Slightly up as you hit the knee. And now let's go to the left side, right? So do it where you're slightly coming up across the midsection. And then to the head. And then to the knee. And back to the midsection. And back to the head. That's a bit more fun instead of here. Right? More here. Look at the tip of your stick and go off figure eight. Keep going. Good. Yeah. Small little circle. Small circle. So look at how my whole hand moves down. Trying to do it all. Over again. And now back to the right side and vertical figure eight. So now I'm going up and down this way, making the figure eight. So it's just like the horizontal, but it's up and down. So it's a tight one. It's not really big and wide. It's tight, right? So just coming up and down this way. And here my hand's coming inward towards my body as I draw the figure eight. But I should also be able to do it to where I go this way. And so now as my palm comes down, the backhand is going down, right? Here the backhand comes down, and then here the forehand comes down. And the backhand comes down, and then forehand comes down. And to the left hand. Here, so the forehand comes down. And backhand comes down. Forehand comes down. And backhand comes down. All right, so those are your basic figure eights. And then you go where you have the small circles at the top. And so basically what we're doing is this is like I'm doing a horizontal stripe, and then I'm coming up diagonal, right? Horizontal across, and then I come up diagonal. Actually, I guess it doesn't matter. You guys are facing my name. So you'll be going opposite your partner. So when you're looking at your partner, remember you're doing totally opposite with there, right? So everyone, your right hand is going to go, and I'm going to go across flat, and then I come up on a diagonal, and then flat across the head, and then I come up on the diagonal. Flat across the head, up on the diagonal. So if I were to draw the figure eight, I've got a big circle here, and I have a little circle on my top right corner. Big circle, little circle on the top right corner, right? Which I know online, if you're matching me, it's going to be totally opposite. So if I did it your way, you guys are going to go here horizontal, and this would be where you're matching. So this is your right side. So come up, small circle, flat across, diagonal. Small circle, flat across, diagonal. Small circle, flat across, diagonal, right? And then off of that, you should be able to change direction. And so now I go here, and then I come down on the diagonal, right? So I'm coming horizontal with a backhand, and then I come diagonal with the forehand. Horizontal with the backhand, diagonal with the forehand. Horizontal with the backhand, diagonal with the forehand, right? So the small circle is still on the top right corner, right? But I'm switching directions. I will tell you, if you go to a Dan and Asanzo seminar, if he ever has one again, we'll see what happens after the COVID world ends. Right now, he's not doing much of anything but teaching at the school. Right? He tends to just do this one, where it's upward is always on the back end, right? But you never know. Once in a while, he's like, all right, switch directions, make it happen the other way. You should be able to do it either way. All right, so now we'll take this small circle and we'll put it on the left corner, right? So on the left corner, do it this way. I'm going backwards. So now I'm coming flat across with the backhand, and then I'm coming up with the forehand. Flat across backhand, up with the forehand. Right? So you got a direction on this side. So up, flat across, and then I come up. Flat across with the backhand, and then I come up. So actually turn around. I'll go this way, and you guys can all kind of match. Right? So flat across, up to the backhand. Wait, which corner did you guys have? So flat across with the backhand, up to the forehand. Flat across backhand, up to the forehand. Flat across backhand, up to the forehand. This is your left. Okay. Think about which side I had you guys on. All right, so now you're going to put the small circle on the bottom, right? So what changes is the height of the horizontal strike. So now it's like my horizontal strike is coming to the knee, and then I come up to this big circle. So now we'll take the small circle, put it on the bottom left corner, right? And I go up big with my backhand, and then I strike low with my horizontal strike as a forehand. Backhand comes up high, forehand is going down like for the kneecap. So I'm hitting into the chin, hitting in the knee, hitting in the chin, hitting in the knee. Where before, both of these would be more like head strikes. So I came from the ground to hit up to the chin, and then I came flat across the chin here. Now I'm coming up to the chin, and now I'm hitting to the knee. Up to the chin, hitting to the knee. Right? So low on the forehand, up high on the backhand. Low on the forehand, and if again you were to draw the figure eight, it would be small circle, big circle. Small circle, big circle. Which tends to be how Sifu Kevin and Guru and Asano both talk about it, is put the small circle on the bottom left, the bottom left, the big circle on the top right. I personally find that when I think of what kind of strike I'm doing, it makes a little bit more sense. Or it did initially. Now I can see the circles a little bit easier. So you're going forehand, you're going back, and then forehand to the chin, instead of bringing it all the way around you, keep it in front of you. Right? So this is on here, and then back. Right? Small, back hand up high. Right? And now back hand up high. circle, and then flat, and then diagonal, diagonal. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Hit here. Oh. All right, now of course we have to go to the other way as well. So now small circle here, big circle here, right? So I'm coming up with the forehand, and then I'm hitting the kneecap to the backhand. Small circle up with the forehand to the chin, back to the kneecap with the backhand. The chin to the knee, the chin to the knee. Small circle, big circle. Small circle, big circle. Small circle, big circle. Just a quick flick of the wrist at the bottom, and then big arm motion. Flick of the wrist, big arm motion. Flick of the wrist, big arm motion. Flick, 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 swish and flip. Just like in Harry Potter. Good, and time. So now we're going to do this with your partner, all right? So, Sami, here's what I'm going to have you do. As we go back to these, you're going to go back to doing like the diagonal with the right side, do it like 4 or 5 times, and then go right into diagonal with the left side 4 or 5 times, and then back to the right hand, and then back to the left hand, unless Neil happens to have a set of sticks, and you're like, here, Neil, let me show you how to do this, right? Either way is fine. So, our side, we're going to go right hand, so I'm working with Jen, and we're coming down, and then we strike down. And think about making it a figure 8. So notice how the stick circles through, and then I hit. Circle, hit. Circle, hit. Circle, hit. So nice and loose, right? Strike, strike, strike. Go. Like 1 minute. Your stick flow right through. Bounce off, let it flow through. Picture that sword, right? The blade of the sword would always be this knuckle is right where the blade is. There. Good. Now switch directions and do it as an upward figure 8. So, Sami, same thing for you. So you're just still switching between the right hand and then go to left hand a few times, but you're doing it as an upward figure 8 now, right? And you're off go. So now upwards. Up, up, up. The other hand back up there. Somewhere on purpose. Good. Now switch and go to the left hand as a downward figure 8. Sam, you can keep switching. well, here's, I mean, on this. On this. And then upward figure eights, go. So now, there. Good. All right, so now we're going to go back to the right hand. You're going to go to the horizontal figure eight, which can be the tougher one to make sure you're hitting with your partner because it's much tighter, right? We're going to do it as flat across and like a little bit of a downward motion, okay? So I'm coming here and it's down, down, down as you're coming through, right? So, but not big down this way. It's flat across, 3 and 4 type strikes, but notice the stick is kind of pointed down and it's got this little bit of a downward angle as I come across. We should be meeting like right in the center of our solar plexus, right? Right hand, go. Third. Oh. No, down, down. So you're doing it as I'm coming down. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You go down and he goes up. It's not gonna. You still coming down. I'm not sure. Now same figure eight, but do it upward. So now it's got a little bit of an upwards angle as you're coming across. Okay, I was doing what I ready. Time. All right, so now going into the big circle is on your top right. This will be the same for both of you, right? Or I'm sorry, we'll go to the little circle. Little circle is on the top right. So as I'm doing it, I'm here, little circle, so I'm going forehand or flat across towards the head, and this will tend to have a little bit of an upwards angle, so the one we were just doing, and then I go backhand up, right? Flat across with the forehand, backhand comes up. Flat across with the forehand, backhand comes up. Samya, for you, you have to do it all with your left hand now, because we did all of these flows with your right hand, so now you have to do it with your left hand. So the big circle, I'm sorry, the little circle will still be on your top right, but as you're doing that, top right is on this side for you if you're behind me in class. So you're going backhand and then forehand on the way up. Backhand, forehand on the way up. Right? So your actual flow is going to be a little bit different than everyone else because you're going with the other hand, but the little circle is still on the same side. Right? And for everybody else, little circle on the top right. Go. The horizontal has a little bit more of a downward arc to it, not upward arc. All right, time. So now put the circle on the other side. So now I'm going the small circle on the top left, flat across with the backhand, forehand comes up at an angle. Flat across with the backhand, forehand comes up at an angle. For some, you're doing it with your left hand. Your small circle is still over on the top left. So you're going forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand. Right? And go. So you can make these happen in 1 minute. Time. All right, so we're just going to go with those buttons, right? And then we'll figure out what we're doing next week. Now, next week I'm still here, so we'll hit the bottom circles next. All right, so let's go into chopping a stick. You all fast. All right, so half snake series, right? With a half snake, it's that you're going to block and then you're going to circle through, so it's off of the cambiata. Cambiata is where I'm changing direction. So this is how word hits me. I'm going to hit the stick, and then I'm going to come back around to hit this side, right? As you're doing this with your, we'll stay away, you guys can do it with each other. But you're just going to kind of do it in form, unless you want to get close to your partner, whichever, right? So, but I'm just going to hit, and I'm going to think I'm striking back, and then I would be circling her hand around, right? So let me still always, because I'm spending a lot of time with him anyway. So I hit, and then I'm striking, and then I'm bringing his hand around with my stick. And right now we're going to stay under with both. My hand sneaks in, my puño hooks into his wrist, and for now I'm going to take the stick, and so I go this way. And then I can hit him with his own stick. Right? So the motion would be I hit, I strike the head, I start bringing the stick around, my puño goes into the wrist, my other hand goes over my hand, and then I take the stick away. Right? So So once more, actually jump on this side, so the zoom so you can see that detail a little better. I hit, I strike, I bring the stick around, my puño goes right up into the wrist, and then I strip as I pull the stick out. Okay? So in form, I'm basically just hitting, circling, I'm thinking hooking into the wrist, and fine. So I'm going hit, clear, boom, block, strike, and that brings me right into that circle. Okay? So practice that. You guys can beat each other up. It's up to you guys. You want, I'll hold my breath. I don't know how through there, kind of. So as I take this stick away, I'm going to get it here, my palm and then up. I'm going to hook into the puño, and then pull and push at the same time. Right? Better. And then on the second part, think here, and then with your down. So almost like I'm blocking with your one, and then I'm flicking my wrist over to hit you with like a 3 to the head. I'm sorry, 4 to the flat across. This motion with the head. And then my hand over here, so then I can pull it around. Oh, no. Instead of just being so much of emotion, it's almost like Wittek motion. No, I'm not in Wittek. Probably be a better way to say it. Right? And then bring it. And with this hand, pull it like you're pulling your head. So keep playing in form of that one, right? Figure it out. Don't get there. So, you guys see? I notice I have a connection here, so I get my wrist against this wrist, and just pull it around. This here, come up. Pull it to my base, and then pull it to my base. I use your right hand, you just bring his hand around this. Drop your hand down. And now, if that comes up, slide your hand between your hand and the stick. Your left hand. Put your palm to your thumb, no, the other way. This side, okay. Just put this on your stick. No, this side. Use the web of your hand together. Up your neck. Oh, that might be like that. Oh, there you go. Yes. All right, ready, Sonia? Perfect. Let me see you do it again. Go. Block, abanico, circle around. That's it. Good. Good push pull on that too. Do that again, Karen. Jim, hit her. Good. The only thing I would say with yours, Karen, is try and get wrist connection, right? So when I have Elvis, let me see you again. Which angle do I want to do this from? Come over on the side. So Elvis hits me, and here as I go to hit him, notice how my arm is against his arm, right? So instead of being out here on the stick, I'm not going to have as much control over in here. Instead, I want it to be when I'm here, boom, I'm hitting, and I have that connection, my arm to his arm. Now I can pull his arm around, and that automatically gets my puño right where it needs to be. And now I can pull the puño as I'm pulling the stick out.
Okay.
Do it again.
Well, Jim had to leave for a second.
Oh, see how he is? Well, just hit Samia. She's right next to you. She's on your left side. Right? So Samia and Karen, go to the hand over now, right? So with the hand over, remember, I'm going to go block, abanico, and now as I circle around, I'm the sickle. So I go here, my hand stays under, but the stick comes over, right? In form, that's the one that looks cooler because you're like, blah, swing it around, and then it comes back that way. Blah, hit, bring it around. As I grab the stick, this one comes over the top.
Okay.
Second hinges?
No.
Down, grab. That's it. Oh, I was watching Samya, sorry. Make your left hand look more involved, Sam. That was better with the wrist connection, Karen.
You get me?
Yeah.
And then Samya, with your left hand, your live hand, your palm is going to be up. I'm going to walk around here. As I go here, my palm is facing up as I grab the stick. Because I'm grabbing your stick this way, right? So my palm is up as I grab the stick, and then I pull.
Hitting you?
Oh, yeah, up here.
No.
The other detail is the one I was just giving them. It's got your form against my form. So you can get my one. The form. Yeah. So, here. So here, and then instead of bringing your hand this way, I'm going to go here, just flip my hand, and my arm is going to be in contact with the wall. Right? Now I can pull the arm around. Now my hand goes palm up on the other side of the hip. Right? And now pull on the wrist, you grab the stick. Actually, you have to show. With that, probably with pull that around. Show off of that. Get out of the way. It's the simple things that escape people sometimes. Karen, hit Jim. Let me see him do something. That's it. Good. It looked like the detail was good.
Sir, are you aiming for a big sweep of the arm there?
The stick in your left hand. Yeah, that left hand. How do you do it from there? Yes.
Hold on.
Come up.
Do it right. Here. Okay, so come.
Yeah. Yes, that was it.
Yeah, sort of.
Oh, I was talking to Samia. Sorry. You have the general flow. Visualize the stick. Palm up.
Are you talking to us, sir?
All right, I'm watching you, Jim. Do it again.
Okay.
Samia was distracting me.
Yeah.
Pull her stick hand to your hip.
Hold your stick hand.
No, that's walking towards her stick hand. So let me steal Elvis again. Elvis! So, which way do I want to do this? Do it from this side. So as he hits me, I'm going to go from here. And then once I get to here, I'm pulling his stick hand back to my hip with the same side that my stick's at, right? So So if I'm using my right hand, then I get to here and I pull the wrist towards that side. There's always a push-pull. And whether I'm going over or I'm going under, it doesn't matter. Even if I went over, it would be the same thing from here. I'm pointing towards my wrist with my hip, that direction. Here. 12 more seconds. So do it again.
With the right hand or the left hand?
Sure, either one.
Right hand.
Whichever one you were just doing. So now from there, pull her stick hand back to your hip that has the stick in it.
No. Pull the stick hand back to her.
Her stick hand is getting pulled back to the hip of your body that has the stick in it. So if your stick's in your right hand, right? So now
Yeah.
pull her stick hand back to your right hip. Right. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. All right, and time. I'm way over on that, but why not? Right, so from here, that was for most of you, the first one of the Half Snake series, which to me is a pretty cool series. It's a lot of fun. As you're going through that, there's a lot of small details in there. If I were to try and go through all of them, it's that I'm going to block with a 1, and then this is more like an abanico. So more like I'm coming across with a 3, but an abanico 3. At the same time, I need my wrist to be in contact with their wrist. I bring their hand around circularly using my stick hand, so I have that contact. I pull their arm around that way. My left hand, I want the thumb up, and if I'm trying to keep the stick, then I want my thumb out, so that their stick is like this in my hand. I have my other stick over the top or underneath, and I would have their wrist here, and I push that stick out as I pull towards my wrist with my stick hand, which forces their hand this way, and it rolls their wrist in. And when your wrist gets bent in, it's hard to hold on to something. And that's where that stick starts to come out. If I wanted to just sail the stick, just get it out of their hand, then I could do it that way, or I could just leave my hand flat. It won't matter as long as I'm pushing that way. All right. If I were to go over, the details are all the same with the bottom hand. I get to here, I grab their stick, and then the hand just comes over the top. But it's still, I just pull the stick into my hand, my hip, as I'm pushing the stick away. Right? So it's a fun one, and then of course you have to go and learn to do it on the other side as well, like I just had time. So that is all. And relax stance as a dedicated student of the martial arts.
As a dedicated student of the martial arts. I live by the principles of honesty, courtesy, integrity, self-control, perseverance, and indomitable spirit. What is the goal? Excellence. People stand position. Yes. Courtesy. Out. Impact martial arts. Awesome. Thank you for playing with sticks. Thanks, guys.
So long, sir.
See you. See you in the morning, Samya.